A lot of people know that I moved to Atlanta in 23, bought my place in October 23, got married to a young lady here in January of 24, and have been here full time since. But in 25, even after I had resigned from my positions as a judge in Clarksdale and Grenada to move here after falling in love with a young lady, I was permanently banned from the bench by the Mississippi Supreme Court. And that was even after I resigned. I was investigated for comments that I made while I was president of the National Bar Association, I believe in the 21-22 bar year. And as a sitting president and as a sitting judge, I stated after the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict that if people still thought that we had a colorblind justice system, they refused to accept the ugly truth. Because I still to this day believe that if the roles had been reversed, Kyle Rittenhouse had been black and killed some white individuals, he would not have walked free. And that's just my belief, and I'm entitled to it. And I will believe that until the day I die, with all of my years of experience, nearly a quarter of a century of experience into the legal system and the judicial system now. I still feel that it's not a colorblind. Lady Justice is not blind. She sees quite clearly color. And so I made that comment on one or more of my social media pages, and the Judicial Commission investigated me for it. And they banned me for that comment, as well as the comment I made on the Kelly Clarkson show when I went there. Kelly Clarkson called me a rad human and thought it was so good that I was doing alternative sentencing. But the Supreme Court said some statements that I made on that show was offensive or improper, and that I deserve to be banned for life.
At that point, it sounds like you were targeted. Just the fact that people make comments on, I wonder like who was watching that, when you put that up there, or did it circulate enough? And then someone like tipped off the other people, and then you're on the Kelly Clarkson. Why you watch me on Kelly Clarkson's show if you're not really liking me? So I'm just wondering, like, that seemed like a kind of a witch hunt to.
And actually, the way that happened, they really, the initial discipline was because of the Kyle Rittenhouse. Someone complained, I guess a citizen or some person off the internet complained about my comment about Kyle Rittenhouse, and they started investigating me for that. And as part of my defense, I voluntarily showed them what I had said on the Kelly Clarkson show, and they turned around and used that against me as another reason to punish me. And I know of no one that has ever been banned for life from being a judge. There's been judges that have done some egregious things. Right. I mean, DUIs. There's been some judges that left the bench right there in open court and fought litigants and were not banned. They may have received a 90-day suspension, but they were not banned for life. So we do believe that the sentence was extraordinary, to say the least.
Were there any black judges after? I mean, were there any other black judges? Were they already existing during this time, or were you kind of like the only one?
There are other black judges across Mississippi.
Well, I think in your county, or what you were presiding over. In
Grenada, in the municipal courts of Grenada, I was the only black judge. And then there was one other black judge that was appointed on the same day I was appointed. They remained in Clarksdale.
When you look back at all the work that you were doing, did you feel like a sense of betrayal from your own ecosystem?
I didn't feel betrayed by the systems that appointed me. Both Clarksdale and Grenada would have a love for me to stay on the bench. And they never asked me to resign or anything. In fact, I was reappointed. I served 4 years and I was reappointed for another 4-year term in Clarksdale. And so I didn't feel betrayed by them, but I did believe that I was targeted potentially by the Supreme Court. This decision was not a unanimous decision. It was split along racial lines, it seemed. The only black person on the bench on the Supreme Court said I had done nothing wrong. He gave a long, resounding dissent and said I had done nothing wrong. I exercised my constitutional right, First Amendment right to free speech. But the others thought that I had done wrong and deserved to be banned for life. So you have to wonder, was there any other reason besides race that they came up with two different opinions?
Yeah. Well, one perspective is if you're a black man, you're going to have empathy for black, I don't want to say people that break the law. And you're giving these alternative routes where they're not being thrown in jail. Because is it true that some of these prisons are privately owned, like institutions where they can make money off these?
Some of the prisons in Mississippi are privately owned. Most of the jails are county owned. So I had authority to put people in the county jail for up to a year.
Yeah. So I assume that locking people up is good business, is big business.
Some of the localities, they make money off of the fines and some of the things.
So if you're in there, I don't want to say you was disrupting that, but I just would say, like, if you're minimizing that or a part of that, I would imagine they would shut that down because the money's about to get messed with.
Yeah, some of the county jails, even though they were owned by the county, they could have been managed by private companies, and so it could have been getting into their pocket. I never thought about it from that vein, but that's.
Listen, every time I go to the court, that's all they want. That's how it's always payment. Pay your fine, like traffic. Traffic violations always been like payment. So I've always looked at it from a level of it was a way to it's a business.